When The Boys isn't being insanely violent, it's got some pretty great insight into its complex characters, from Homelander's unhinged behavior to Hughie overcoming his need to save Starlight. But a character audiences tends to overlook is Frenchie. He's adored by fans, sure, but he can also be the hero we deserve. Today we're looking at 10 scenes where Frenchie proved he's a hero, perhaps more than anyone else in the show. Let's dive in, starting with number 10. Frenchie refuses to pick between Kimiko and Cherie. One of Frenchie's best character traits is his unrelenting loyalty to those he cares about. In Season 3, he's pulled in every direction imaginable. We've seen him haunted by ghosts from his past, more particularly Mallory's grandchildren. But it all comes full circle this time around. One of those ghosts is his longtime friend and ex-girlfriend, Cherie. Little Nina, their old boss, comes back into their lives, causing them all sorts of trouble. So Cherie asks Frenchie to help her flee the country, but he's got no idea what trouble lies ahead. Eventually, he finds himself tied up in a warehouse. Little Nina, proving that she's a sadistic monster, forces him to choose between Cherie and Kimiko, but he refuses. Obviously, some folks would consider this a weakness, because his inability to choose between two people means that both of them would end up getting killed. But it also shows Frenchie's desperation to save any and every soul, even when there's little to no chance of doing so. Next is number 9. He reaches out to Kimiko's brother, Kenji. Season 2 dropped a lot of bombs on us, the least of which was Stormfront's Nazi roots. But another was the reveal of Kenji, who turned out to be Kimiko's long-lost brother. He's labeled a soup terrorist, putting the US and Vought into alert mode, and they're not wrong to do so, considering how incredibly powerful he is. This makes the boys wary of his true intentions. But Frenchie's different. Even though the rest are understandably cautious, Frenchie tries bonding with Kenji when he's being transported as a prisoner on the boat. He even offers him a pack of Doritos and a can of soda. He then talks to Kenji about the one person they both care about, Kimiko. Frenchie wants to learn how to communicate with her, but Kenji refuses to teach him the siblings' special language. In the end, it's a bleak scene, but his willingness to try and bond with Kenji shows his capacity for empathy. Coming up is number 8. He's one smart Frenchman. Frenchie's loyalty and empathy are what make him human, but what makes him a badass is his wit. Part of the reason why the boys need him is his knowledge of chemicals and weapons. He's got the ability to create gadgets that are designed specifically to the soup they're trying to bring down. Before he joined the boys, though, it was Mallory who noticed his intelligence and skill and decided to recruit him. He's proved himself as one of the smartest members on the team, or in fact, anyone else, by using non-traditional ways to deal with the situation. While this isn't heroic in and of itself, when combined with his quick wit and improvisational skills, it makes him a formidable opponent for anyone, even Billy. At number 7, Frenchie looks for inspiration in the small stuff. Heroes usually need a reason to move forward. Billy wants to kill Homelander and bring down Soups once and for all because of what Homelander did to his wife Becca. Just wants to get back to his family, and they're his motivation. But Frenchie, on the other hand, finds meaning in the smaller things in life. For example, when he was living in a homeless shelter, he'd watch Golden Girls on the television every morning between 3 and 5 a.m. And this tiny little thing inspired him to keep moving forward. He's even admitted that he wants to be a better person by simply being around Kimiko. And honestly, that's what makes him so relatable. All we can do sometimes is watch our favorite TV show and take a break from life's chaos until we're ready to move forward. Pretty heroic if you ask us. For number 6, he's always ready to accept others. We've already touched on his ability to empathize with characters such as Kenji, but there are plenty of other people that Frenchie welcomed with open arms throughout the series. Most notably, he quickly accepted both Hughie and Kimiko into the group. They were like fish out of water when they met the boys in Season 1. Even though MM's level-headed and nurturing presence helps tremendously, he keeps his distance and doesn't believe in getting emotionally involved. That's far from Frenchie, though, who will not only sit with you while you're going through something, but also open up about his own experiences. In our opinion, Frenchie's empathy and kindness are massively underrated character traits. They're what make him such a heroic character, and they're the reason others feel empowered in his presence. The greatest example of this is Kimiko. She even admits in Season 3 that Frenchie's the reason she stuck with the group for so long. Up next is number 5. He's tackled Soups way before he joined the boys. This one goes back way before the boys even began. As we mentioned before, it was Mallory who recruited Frenchie, but the man was dealing with Soups and bringing them down long before he was on her radar. Back in 2012, before the series began, Frenchie, Cherie, and their friend Jay were pulling crime heists terrorists, but the law eventually caught up with them. During one scene, Mallory mentions that he weaponized Xanax in order to counter Behemoth's rage. It was a clever way to deactivate a soup's power, and in turn made him a superhero in his own unique way. Now for number 4, his guilt over the death of Mallory's grandkids. Guilt isn't something that would be considered a heroic trait, but hear us out. Throughout the series, we're shown that Frenchie's driven by guilt over the death of Mallory's grandkids. He feels intense shame and regrets not because he dozed off on the job, but because he chose to save his close friend Jay's life after he OD'd. And this gave Lamplighter the opening to burn down Mallory's house and her grandkids along with it. The entire situation is tragic, but what's even more depressing is the fact that Jay OD'd a second time and dies because no one's there to save him. Frenchie never told anyone the real reason he left the night he was supposed to be watching Lamplighter for a long time, mainly because he felt that he deserved all the guilt and shame that came with it. The reason why this is heroic, in our opinion, is because he didn't want the boys or Mallory sharing the same guilt or conflict he felt the night Cherie called him to tell him that one of his best friends was dying from an OD. At number 3, the rise and fall of Frenchie. This ties back to his guilt over the death of Mallory's grandkids. It's part of the reason why he relapses throughout the series, and it's what makes him relatable to a large community of people who've suffered the consequences of addiction. In Frenchie's case, he's prone to more relapses than any other character on the show. From his terrible childhood to a life filled with crime and substance abuse, he's seen it all, but he's always picked himself back up from a relapse and dusted himself off. He's open about his struggles and doesn't shy away from his true self, and for him to continue fighting addiction when Kimiko or the boys need him shows that he's the hero we deserve. In second place, we have Frenchie's humanness and his willingness to take risks. When Starlight, Queen Maeve, or Kimiko stand up to superpowered opponents, there's no doubt that it's badass. They're soups themselves. But when a human like Billy, or especially Frenchie, does it, it's something else. Whether it's A-Train, Stormfront, or Homelander, Frenchie won't hesitate to stare down the barrel of a gun. But other than his willingness to take risks for his friends, he's also different from Billy in a major way. When Billy and Hughie take temp-V, Frenchie's first concern is about Hughie's mental and physical health. He understands what substance abuse does to a person and doesn't want Hughie or Billy going through the same fate, especially when it's something as unstable as temp-V. And despite the fact that those two don't listen to him, he's still willing to put himself in harm's way to help them out. This alone makes him more heroic than Butcher ever was. Finally, at number 1, his unique relationship with Kimiko. No one understands her better than him. Even when she was hostile and non-communicative when they first met, he reached out to her when no one else would, and was also the first person to accept her into the group. Their bond grew dramatically when she saved him from Black Noir, and that's when Frenchie realized that she's not the enemy. If you want to see all of his traits in one go, all you have to do is watch his relationship with Kimiko and how he treats her. Throughout the series, he learns Japanese sign language and the unique sign language Kimiko uses with her brother in order to communicate with her. And in doing so, their relationship grows into something beautiful. And through this communication, they help each other grow into better humans, and therefore, better heroes. And that's a wrap, folks. Thanks for watching. Which was your favorite scene of our beloved Frenchman? Did we miss any of your favorites? Tell us down below. And as always, be sure to give this a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on more boys content. We'll see you in the next one.